After coveting Shenwanqing for 3 years, I finally couldn't help it and tied her back home. I tied a silver chain around her ankle and told her never to leave me in her life. For the first month she refused to give in and threatened me to let her out. In the second month, she slowly compromised and allowed me to sleep in the same bed with her. In the third month, she started to become more and more demanding, asking me why I came home 5 minutes late today and whether I was fooling around with some other woman. Looking at the woman in front of me playing with the silver chain with red eyes, I broke down. Who is the Yandere after all? You came back 5 minutes late again today. Shenwanqing sat on the bed and looked at me coldly. Lin Ziyuan, your company gets off work at 6 o'clock, and it only takes 20 minutes to get home even with the traffic jam. But you have been 5 minutes late for 3 consecutive nights. Are you fooling around with some wild woman again? She sneered, her red lips curled up into a dangerous arc. Is it possible that I will have a roommate moving in soon? I swallowed and looked nervously at the woman in front of me who was playing with the silver chain wrapped around her fingers. She slowly leaned forward, knelt with her long legs apart on both sides of my body, sat on me and looked down at me, with a cool smile in the corners of her eyes. Have you forgotten what I told you yesterday? If you come back 1 minute late, I'll add 1 more time. She wrapped the silver chain around my feet. Perhaps you are more suitable for this chain than me. I looked at her in horror and opened my mouth to explain, but she blocked my mouth tightly. I could only collapse and yell in my heart. Who the hell is the Yandere here? She was clearly the most popular girl before. 2 months ago, I did the most cruel thing in my life. I tied up my boss Shenwanqing. This is the 3rd year that I have had a crush on her. Before that, she was my senior. After graduation, I shamelessly begged for help from everyone and finally got a job in her company through internal communication. At first, I just wanted to be by her side and watch her, and I didn't expect her to like me. But the more I looked at her, the more I wanted her, so I decided to confess my feelings to her. But on the day I confessed my love to her, I happened to see her being intimate with a man, and she was even holding a big bouquet of roses in her hands. I died before I could accomplish my mission. I was so angry that I came up with a bold and perverted idea. I'm going to take her home. So I asked her to take me home on the pretext of feeling unwell, and then I tricked her into coming to my house by saying I was going upstairs for a drink, and I got her drunk with a bottle of beer. Speaking of which, Shenwanqing's alcohol tolerance is really poor. I have never seen a northerner with such a poor alcohol tolerance. It is really a shame for the north. While she was sleeping, I dragged her to the bedroom and tied her to the bed with a thin silver chain I had just bought. Then I watched her in a dilemma. I really want to do something fancy, but she is unconscious now. It is useless for me to think of it alone. I can only wait for her to wake up. An hour later, Shenwanqing's eyelids moved and she woke up. She looked at the chain on her foot and frowned. Lin Ziyuan, are you illegally detaining me? Looking at those dark eyes, my previous passion turned into cold sweat, and I warned her with gritted teeth. Don't ever think about leaving me in your life. Don't even think about escaping. This chain is made of titanium alloy. Not only you, but even an elephant can't escape. Shenwanqing looked at me strangely and played a straight ball. You like me? My face flushed and I stammered. Yes, I have liked you for 3 years, but it would be fine if you didn't like me, but you actually want to be with another man. I absolutely cannot allow that. From now on, you just stay here obediently. I recited the lines from the Yandere novels I had read before. You can only see me in your eyes, you can only think of me in your mind, and your body belongs to me alone. Shenwanqing looked at me coldly. Impossible. I advise you to let me go immediately. I won't give in. I uttered a few more harsh words and ran out of the bedroom in embarrassment. In fact, I regretted it just now. This is illegal detention and a crime. Moreover, Shenwanqing is not a good person. She looks like a high-class girl who is not interested in worldly things, but I heard that she seems to be a black belt in Taekwondo and has also practiced Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've seen her being harassed before, and she was knocked down in an instant. My broken chain was not made of titanium alloy at all. It was just a cheap dog chain I bought casually, only as thick as my little finger. She could open it with just a hard pull. I hope I won't be beaten to death by her then. But I really crave her. I gritted my teeth and died under the peony flowers. Even as a ghost I would be a romantic one. I am determined to be this Yandere. In the first month, Shen Wanqing was just like she said, she would rather die than obey. Every time I entered the bedroom, she looked at me coldly as if she were looking at a dead person. Every time I wanted to reach out to her, I would be scared back by her eyes. Several times I sneaked into her bedroom at night, but as soon as I touched her, I saw her open her eyes. The moonlight was reflected in her eyes, like a beautiful vampire who had just awakened. I was so scared that I never dared to go there again. But she didn't leave. She seemed to really believe my lies. The small chain that tied her was like a small wooden stick used to tie an elephant. It really trapped her in place. Fortunately, the chain was long enough so she could go to the independent bathroom in the house without affecting anything. I thought if hard tactics didn't work I would try soft tactics, so I went to her room every day and complained about my secret crush on her, but she never talked to me. Every time I told her how much she liked her she turned her head away, as if she was so disgusted that she didn't even want to look at me. By the end of the month, I finally felt a little discouraged. I thought, forget it, a forced melon is not sweet. The most I can do is secretly look at her, and I can't really do anything to her. You might as well just send her back and turn yourself in. In fact, I also understand how someone like Shen Wanqing could fall in love with me. She is always the most dazzling person in the crowd, and I am just the gray background beside her. It was so easy to fall in love with Shen Wanqing. At that time, I had just joined the literary and artistic club and was going to perform at the party. I had a piano and violin ensemble with a girl, but that girl's boyfriend got jealous and threatened to break up with her the day before the performance, telling her not to perform on the same stage with me. Without my partner temporarily, I was at a loss. It was Shen Wanqing who was passing by at that time who picked up the violin and said to me, "Play it, I'll accompany you." The performance was a great success and the audience burst into warm applause when the last syllable fell. Later I found out that Shen Wanqing was not a member of our club at all. She was the president of the student union. She just passed by that day and saw how pitiful I was, so she helped me. Later I went to thank her, but she just nodded faintly and left. To her, it was probably just an insignificant episode in her life, but for me, from that day on, she was the only one left in my eyes. Later, she graduated and started her own business, and I followed her into her company. But her attitude towards me has always been lukewarm. Even though I tied her up and brought her home, she still refused to give in. I sighed and decided to go see her a few more times tonight, and let her go home when I had made enough money. I didn't expect Shen Wanqing to not fall asleep this time. As soon as I walked to the bed, she grabbed my wrist. Just when I was scared out of my wits, Shen Wanqing opened her eyes. In the silence of the midnight, there was only the sound of my pounding heartbeat and her hoarse voice. "Lin Ziyuan, are you sick?" I don't know if it was my illusion, but I seemed to see a hint of disappointment in her eyes. I stuttered and couldn't speak. She sat up and rubbed her brow. "Do you really want to sleep with me?" I nodded. "Nonsense, why tie her up if you don't want to?" Shen Wanqing looked at me for a long time, and said solemnly, as if a rich girl who was forced into prostitution finally compromised and accepted customers. "Well, you can move in and sleep here tonight. But we agreed that you can only sleep and not do anything else." Happiness came too suddenly. I nodded frantically. "If I can't do it, then I can't do it. I've already moved here. How far can I go from doing anything?" Shen Wanqing glanced at it and said with a little disdain, "Bring me your pillow." From that night on, I finally got my wish and slept in the same bed with Shen Wanqing. I could look at her happily every day, and it felt like my dreams had turned pink. It's a pity that Shen Wanqing wakes up with a dark complexion every morning. It is probably because although her body has compromised, she still feels humiliated in her heart. Another month of this went on, and Shen Wanqing became a little annoyed. From being lukewarm towards me at the beginning to now controlling everything I do. She even controls what time I get off work. I don't know why, but the company is still running smoothly without her, as if no one noticed that the boss is missing. The scale is even getting bigger and bigger, and recently due to insufficient staff, we have recruited a group of interns. The intern assigned to me, named Jiang Jiro, is a college student who has not yet graduated. She is 168 centimeters tall, with a small mole on her high nose bridge, and long, straight eyelashes that can be seen when she lowers her eyes. She was very sweet-mouthed, calling me brother all the time, and she studied very hard. After work, she would pull me aside to ask me questions. I admit that I am a big fan of Desai, although I only have Shenwanqing in my heart, but facing such a beauty, who can refuse her question? So I got home half an hour late the first time. When she came back that day, Shenwanqing's face was darker than the sky outside. When I brought her food, she sat on my lap and buried her head in my shoulder. I thought she had finally come to her senses and was so happy that I was beside myself, but she suddenly said, "Why do you smell like perfume?" I was startled, remembering the faint fresh fragrance on Jiang Jiro's body. It was probably because I was too close to her when I was teaching her how to use the company's printer today and I got a little rubbed against her. Does Shenwanqing have a dog's nose? She can even smell this. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Shenwanqing sneered. You say every day how much you love me, but you get tired of me before 3 months have passed and you have a strange woman outside, right? As expected, you won't cherish what you have, Lin Ziyuan. I see through you. Wait, what's with this complaining tone? I hastened to explain. No, it's just that the intern here is so eager to learn, so I taught her how to use the printer. You can't even use a printer. The entry threshold to Huaye is so low now. How can any idiot get in? Shenwanqing's expression became even uglier, and she took out a mobile phone from under the pillow. What's her name? I asked HR to fire her. My eyes widened. No, where did you get the phone? Didn't I confiscate your phone? She has a cell phone, why doesn't she ask someone to rescue her? Shenwanqing was stunned, her expression blank for half a second. Then she threw her phone away and pushed me down on the bed. The light flowed on her collarbone, and the concave shadow made me dizzy and I forgot about the phone. Shenwanqing sat on me, with a smile on her lips that made my back shiver. She tied my hands to the bedside post with a silver chain that she had untied from her ankles at some point, and said indifferently. You came home half an hour late today. I'm going to punish you. After that, Shenwanqing and I developed this unclear relationship. She never said anything, so I never asked. I'm just afraid that if I ask, the answer I get won't be what I want. I've gotten used to chasing her, and loving her too much can make you lose your courage. Maybe if you are successful in love, you will fail in your career. The next night when I got off work, I was just about to leave after packing up when our team leader Du Shui half leaned over my desk. I frowned slightly. Du Shui had always ignored me before and was always arrogant when talking to me. But ever since she found out that my family paid for a house for me locally, she has been targeting me. Her family is from the countryside, and it is not realistic for her to stay in the local area and buy a house with her salary, so she started harassing me. Since she was half my leader, I politely refused every time. But she was like a sticky candy and I couldn't get rid of her. Shaocheng, a hot pot restaurant just opened in the east of the city. This will give you a chance to get in close contact with the leader. How about you treat me to dinner tonight? I was so upset that I couldn't help showing it a little on my face. Sorry, I have something else tonight. What's the matter? Do you have a girlfriend? I paused for a moment and nodded. Right. Who knew that Du Shui would still not give up? Who are you kidding? I've never met your girlfriend. Do you feel pressured to have dinner with me? Don't be nervous. I'm actually very easy to get along with. Let me go. I'm leaving now. I couldn't stand it anymore and just walked away from her. Seeing that I didn't buy it, Du Shui's face suddenly fell. Lin Ziyuan, why are you so proud? Didn't you just buy a house? I tell you, I can buy a house anytime I want. The crappy place you bought is called the suburbs, you know. I don't even want to take a look at it. If I want to buy a house, I'll buy one in the city center. I ignored her and continued walking out, but just as I was about to get into the elevator she grabbed me and started to pick a fight with me again. Suddenly, a slender white hand pulled her wrist open. Jiang Jiro sneered. You are so jealous of others buying houses, you can sell them instead. Oh no, she glanced at Du Shui and sneered, looking at your condition, you'll probably have to pay for it if you sell yourself. Du Shui's lips trembled with anger, but she struggled several times in failure to free herself. No matter how much she cursed, Jiang Jiro would always retort back. In the end, she could only leave in embarrassment with a sullen face. I looked at Jiang Jiro. Thank you. The hostility and indifference on Jiang Jiro's face disappeared instantly, and she became a female college student with clear eyes again. It's okay, Brother Lin. If you're too embarrassed to argue with a woman, just let me do it. Give her face. Let me take you home. It's raining outside. I thought about it and nodded. The car is a bit old, don't mind. Jiang Jiro drove an old-fashioned Honda that looked very old. I fastened my seatbelt and couldn't help but say, "Thank you so much for what you did today, but Du Shui is a very petty person. I'm afraid she will target you in the future." Jiang Jiro's lips curled up into a smile. Am I afraid she'll target me? She steered the wheel with one hand, and the watch on her wrist could buy 10 cars. In fact, her colleagues all speculated whether she was some rich girl who came to experience life. After all, poverty can be concealed, but the noble air that she exuded from her whole body with a sense of relaxation could not be disguised. Well, if the family has a background, then Du Shui shouldn't matter, I breathed a sigh of relief. But Brother Lin, why are you going home so early? Are you really going back to see your girlfriend? Jiang Jiro glanced at me. Actually, she's not really my girlfriend. I don't know how to describe the relationship between Shen Wanqing and I. I can't just say that she is the woman I illegally detained and had a physical relationship with, right? I could only muddle through. A friend, perhaps. Jiang Jiro smiled. That's good. I thought I had no chance. It's not that I didn't notice Jiang Jiro's affection for me. At that time, she came in as a management trainee. Those old hands were afraid that she would come in and take away the leadership position in the future, so they were unwilling to train her well and pushed her to me. I have been teaching her really hard these days, and slowly she has become more and more attached to me, finding countless reasons to come to our office to see me every day. Even my colleagues have noticed it and asked me if she is pursuing me. But the one I like is Shen Wanqing. No matter how beautiful female college students are, I just admire them. I waved my hand. Huaya doesn't allow office romances. Besides, there's a 3-year age difference between us. If you have the energy, spend it on the younger guys instead of wasting your time on me. Jiang Jiro just smiled and said nothing. When we got downstairs, she came over to me before I could even unbuckle my seatbelt. The familiar fragrance lingered in my nose, mixed with a hint of indescribable meaning. The seatbelt is tangled. It was so close that I dared not move. After a few seconds, she unbuckled her seatbelt. Brother Lin, won't you invite me upstairs for a cup of tea? There was undisguised anticipation in her eyes. Probably because the temperature in the car was too high, the heat on my face could not subside, and I almost opened the door in embarrassment. It's not convenient today, maybe next time, thank you. Then he ran up the stairs as if escaping. I had already calculated the time to go home today, but because of this little incident, I was only 5 minutes late. I looked at Shen Wanqing, who was looking down at me. Once a minute, man, don't go until late at night. My brain was working fast. I pushed on her and said angrily. You are still mean to me. Do you know that I was harassed at the company today? How do you recruit people? You just bring everything into the company. Shen Wanqing stopped moving, and a frown formed between her brows. Who harassed you? I didn't look at her. Du Shui from the marketing department, seeing that I bought a house, insisted that I treat her to a meal, and she wouldn't give in. Shen Wanqing turned over and got out of bed, picking up her phone. A few seconds later, the call was connected. Her voice gave me a chill. Is there someone named Du Shui in the marketing department? Well, tell her to pack her bags and leave tomorrow, and tell all the companies we work with that any company that hires her will cancel their cooperation. She hung up the phone and turned around. Why didn't you tell me about this earlier? I muttered, what's the point of me telling you? What's the point of us being related? Shen Wanqing fell silent, her face looking a little ugly. I suddenly remembered what Jiang Jiro asked me today and lowered my eyes. Chen Wanqing, what exactly is our relationship, what do you think? She is willing to play this detention game with me here. She and I have had the most intimate relationship countless times, but she never mentions what is between us. Maybe I was in a bad mood today and my mind was in a mess. Maybe Chen Wanqing was just bored and was looking for fun on me. If she really has feelings for me, why would she always be so unclear and ambiguous with me? I lack the courage because I like her too much, but why is it her fault? It's because you don't like me at all. My throat suddenly felt bitter, and I threw the silver chain that Chen Wanqing had pulled off long ago on the bed. You don't have to give me an answer right now. If our feelings are mutual, then I hope to see you at home after get off work tomorrow. If you are not interested in me, then you can leave tomorrow. After saying that, I turned around and walked out the door in embarrassment. It's not that I don't want to talk it over with her face to face, but just looking at her makes me feel timid. I dare not think about it. Someone like Chen Wanqing will always have no shortage of men chasing after her, and many of them are much better than her. What would she like about me? I couldn't bear her rejecting me to my face. We didn't speak to each other that night and the house was silent. Only occasionally the sound of silver chains clattering could be heard from the bedroom. I didn't sleep all night. I had no energy to work the whole next day. It just so happened that this day was particularly busy, and our boss asked us to contact clients. I made phone calls all day long with a dizzy head, and only felt relieved when I got off work. After dragging myself exhausted to the doorstep, I took a deep breath and unlocked the door. I wanted to delay for a while before coming back, but every minute of delay made me feel anxious and uneasy. Finally I decided to come back. Anyway, it's the same whether you stick your head out or hide your head, so it's better to suffer a short pain than a long one. Besides, Chen Wanqing doesn't necessarily dislike me at all. We had whispered my name in my ear countless times late at night. At least at that moment when we hugged each other, I felt that she loved me. I closed my eyes and walked into the house. The living room was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. The blood in my body ran cold and I rushed into the bedroom in 2 steps. The bedroom was empty. Only a dull silver chain lay on the bed. The quilt was neatly folded and the sheets were flat as if no one had ever slept in it. The dim light of the evening reflected the flying dust in the air. I stood alone in the fragmented light and shadow, slowly reaching out to press my heart. Strangeness. There is clearly no wound, why does it hurt so much? It was as if the pretentious thing had shattered from the inside, leaving only temperatureless residue all over the ground. Well, my own voice suddenly appeared in my messy mind. Being able to sleep with her for so long is actually a great advantage for me. What more do you ask for? We are not from the same world. I reached out and picked up the silver chain. The chain had long lost its temperature, and holding it in my hand felt like holding a ball of ice. Chen Wanqing never appeared again. She didn't even go back to the company. I think she was avoiding me because she was afraid of embarrassment. Her phone number is always unavailable and I can't get in touch with her. I lay alone on the bed where she had slept for 3 months all night. At dawn, I blocked all contact methods for her. Even though I tried very hard to convince myself, I still couldn't get out of it. Those hugs and warmth in the middle of the night turned out to be fake. I was like a clown from beginning to end, and Chen Wanqing never liked me even a little bit. The summer rain came suddenly, and it started pouring rain just after I got off work. I didn't bring an umbrella and couldn't get a taxi, so I just walked home in the rain. Passing by a school, I saw a young couple in love. The boy took off his school uniform and covered the girl's head with it. The 2 of them hugged each other and rushed into the rain together. It's so nice, 2 people getting wet in the rain is romantic. A person becomes an idiot. The rain was getting heavier and heavier, and I could hardly open my eyes. But this is also good. I don't know whether the water on my face is rain or tears. It's really embarrassing. You're not a 17 or 18-year-old kid anymore, but you're still so sad because of a breakup. Just as I was wiping the water off my face, I suddenly heard the sound of a car horn behind me. A black G-Class broke through the rain and stopped on the side of the road. Jiang Jiro, wearing overalls, rushed down with her hands covering her head. Brother Lin, get in the car. After wiping my hair with the clothes Jiang Jiro handed to me, I looked at the logo on it in silence. If I remember correctly, I saw this dress in the counter last month. The LV plaid hoodie is worth 17,000 yuan, which is almost equivalent to 2 months' salary for me. I was speechless as I looked at Jiang Jiro, who didn't care at all. Do you know how much this dress costs? Jiang Jiro glanced at it and said, I don't know. I just picked it up at the mall when I went home last week because the temperature dropped. Damn rich people. I can easily buy a 17,000 yuan LV in a shopping mall, but I have to look at the price tag when I buy a pair of underwear. What's wrong with you? She glanced at me distractedly, and the corners of her mouth, which were originally raised, fell. Who bullied you? I smiled bitterly. No one bullied me. I just got heartbroken. After thinking for a while, I said, it's not a broken heart, it's just a confession of love that was rejected. Jiang Jiro didn't say anything. After a moment she reached out and touched me. That's because she is unlucky. Brother Lin, please search my trouser pocket, she suddenly said. There was indeed something bulging in her pants. I was a little embarrassed, so I took it out as little as possible without touching her. It was a small blue velvet box. When I opened it, I saw a rose tie clip inside, inlaid with a circle of diamonds, which was exquisite and beautiful. I saw it the other day and thought it suited you very well. There was a smile in her eyes. I was startled. No, this is too expensive. I can't accept it. Just consider it as a gift to thank you for teaching me these days. Don't reject me. I'm going to quit my job and go back to school tomorrow. I was stunned. Finally I pushed the tie clip into her hand. I appreciate your thanks, but there's no need for any gifts. Will you come again in the future? As soon as I said this I realized I had asked a very stupid question. A rich girl like Jiang Jiro must have an industry at home. How could she possibly come to work in someone else's company? Sure enough, she glanced at me. Brother Lin, are you reluctant to let me go? But I will go home to work after graduation, and I probably won't come to Huaya in the future. I see. I felt a little disappointed. The days I spent with Jiang Jiro were very happy. She was the kind of person who could make people happy very quickly. Thinking that I wouldn't be able to see her again in the future, I felt a little sad. But I will come to play with you in the future. She winked at me. After getting downstairs, Jiang Jiro walked me into the corridor. I was about to leave when she stopped me. I looked up and Jiang Jiro took out the tie clip and gently put it on for me. She was adjusting my tie carefully, and we were so close that I could even count each of her long eyelashes. For a moment, my heart stopped beating. One step away was the pouring rain that was blocked outside, and there were only the two of us facing each other in this small space. Jiang Jiro looked up at me, and I realized then that her eyes were very light, a honey amber color. Brother Lin, I... Her words were interrupted by a sharp voice. What are you doing? I turned around suddenly and saw Shen Wanqing standing in the rain with an umbrella. She was wearing a well-tailored black skirt suit, and the lenses of her gold-rimmed glasses flashed a hint of sarcasm. No wonder he didn't answer my calls or reply to my texts. Turns out he has a new lover. Shen Wanqing's thin lips pulled out a sneer mixed with contempt and resentment. Lin Ziyuan, you are amazing. You said how much you love me. Did you tell everyone that? I was startled at first, then filled with anger, and clenched my fingers tightly and said, Shen Wanqing, are you crazy? It was clearly you who left first, and now you blame me. Just because you don't like me, I have to follow you like a dog, right? Shen Wanqing frowned. I did leave, but that was because my father was hospitalized in the United States. I called you but you didn't answer, and you didn't reply to my text messages. Isn't it because you fell in love with her again? She pointed at Jiang Jiro. I was stunned. It seemed like an unfamiliar number called me several times that day, but my information was leaked during those days, and I often received calls asking me to apply for loans. I thought they were also harassing calls, so I didn't answer them. But I really didn't receive the message. I thought for a moment and quickly took out my cell phone. Sure enough, there was a text message in the spam box, which was sent from that strange number. Lin Ziyuan, my dad had a car accident in the United States, I have to go there first. I have carefully considered what you said. I am not just playing around with you, but I don't want to express my love for you in such a sloppy way as texting. I want to come back and tell you in person. Wait for me. I stood there in a daze, staring at the text message without moving. Did you change your phone number? After a long time, I said woodenly. That phone number is no longer in service. This is my secondary number. I held the phone tightly and explained in a panic. I didn't see it. The unknown number was blocked and sent to the spam folder. Shen Wanqing just looked at me indifferently. Lin Ziyuan, I should have stayed with my dad for another month, but I came back as soon as he was out of danger. Do you know how I spent the past half month? I wanted to send you a WeChat message but you deleted it and blocked it. I sent you a text message but you never replied once. I was so anxious that I took the next flight back. I thought it was just a misunderstanding, but... She glanced at Jiang Zhiro and sneered. It turns out there was no misunderstanding at all, it's just that you have a new person. It was just a misunderstanding, No misunderstanding. Shen Wanqing said calmly. Then tell me, what were you doing just now? Lin Ziyuan, I was only gone for less than half a month. I was speechless. Looking at the atmosphere just now, I can't honestly say that it wasn't ambiguous. Shen Wanqing didn't even look at me again and turned around and got in the car. The black Rolls-Royce sped away in the rain and never stopped. Brother Lin, is she the person to whom you failed in your confession? Jiang Zhiro asked me with her head down. I nodded glumly and took the tie clip off my tie and gave it to her. I'm returning the gift to you. I really can't accept it, but thank you anyway. Jiang Zhiro was stunned, and a faint bitter smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. It's so ruthless. Okay, I'll take it back this time. I hope you won't reject me next time. I was so distracted that I couldn't make out what she was saying, so I said goodbye and went upstairs. The room was dark on a cloudy evening. I sat alone on the bed and read the message Shen Wanqing sent me. She said she liked me. It turns out that she likes me too. I slowly buried my face in my knees, but I pushed her away with my own hands. I admit that my heart hesitated for a moment when I saw Jiang Zhiro. I thought that there would always be someone in this world who liked me. If Shen Wanqing didn't like me, then I wouldn't like her either. How did she feel during that half-month when she wanted to contact me on the other side of the ocean but didn't dare? I covered my face. I was such an idiot and screwed everything up. The next day, Shen Wanqing returned to the company. I want to see her, but I am afraid to see her. I happened to run into her in the elevator. I was so confused as to not know what to say, but she had already walked away from me without even looking at me. She really seemed to want nothing to do with me anymore. I racked my brains for days and had no idea how to apologize to her. Just as I was considering whether I should just rush into her office, hug her thighs and beg her to forgive me, the colleague next to me suddenly touched me with a wink. Lin Ziyuan, did you know that our boss is getting married soon? I stopped moving my hands. What? Boss G, the beautiful, rich girl has finally been captured. He handed the phone to me gossipingly. The official account just posted that she is getting engaged to the third son of Ruinyo. In the photo, the man is tall and handsome, and the woman next to him has a delicate face. The two of them are a perfect match. Even I have to say, well matched. The young men in our company are about to cry their hearts out, but it's true. With President G's background, how could he possibly do something like, a princess falls in love with a poor boy? He must be looking for a wealthy family of equal status to marry into. He is still talking. But I couldn't hear anything anymore. I stood up suddenly, startling my colleague. What are you doing? Without saying a word, I walked towards Shen Wanqing's office. I want to ask her myself. But just as I reached the office door, a girl came out. He was wearing a suit that looked very expensive, looking very imposing, and he smiled and interlocked his fingers with Shen Wanqing. Then I'll come see you tomorrow. Don't forget to eat well. Shen Wanqing was behind him, her eyes full of smiles, and she said softly. Okay, be careful on your way home and send me a message when you get home. This is the first time I have seen her so gentle. She has never done this to me except in bed. I stopped dead in my tracks and stared blankly. The men saw me and asked with some confusion. Shirlene, who is this? Shenwanqing glanced at me, without a trace of warmth in her eyes. He's just an insignificant person. As she said this, she took the man's arm and walked away from me. I stood there in a daze, my feet felt like they were frozen in ice and I couldn't move. It felt like all the blood in my heart had been drained out. Otherwise, why would it seem like it can't jump anymore? An insignificant person. That's right. Aren't they just insignificant people? Until a colleague passed by me and patted me on the shoulder and said, Lin Ziyuan, what's the matter? Are you looking for President Ji? She just sent her fiancé away. Why don't you come back later? I lowered my head, gently touched my chest, and tried to force a smile, but I knew that the curve of that smile would be weird and awkward. It's okay. I said softly. I won't look for her anymore. I submitted my resignation the next day. My leaders and colleagues tried to keep me, asking me why I wanted to leave when I was doing a good job. I was silent for a long time and said, because there's no reason to stay here anymore. I joined this company because of Shenwanqing. Now that she's engaged, it's time for me to leave. The day I left with the cartons, I ran into Shenwanqing at the elevator entrance. She was still wearing her professional suit, looking like a beautiful lady, and there was no sign that she had ever been tied to my bed with a silver chain. She glanced at the box in my hand, and her tone was emotionless. You're leaving. I nodded and said nothing. Lin Ziyuan, you are really awesome. She suddenly smiled, but the smile did not reach her eyes. I don't know what she meant by that. I'm too lazy to guess anymore. Things have come to this point, there is no way she will give up the marriage for me. What's the point of continuing to pester me? It just makes me look uglier. I used the last decent way. I wish you a happy marriage. Shenwanqing just stared at me without saying a word. The elevator arrived quickly and I turned to leave. The gaze behind me remained burning and did not fade away. The news of Shenwanqing's engagement spread quickly and even appeared in local newspapers. In the picture, they are both talented and beautiful, and anyone would say they are a match made in heaven. The engagement date was chosen in June. I don't know how I managed to get through these days. I was sending out resumes like crazy to find things to do so that I wouldn't be idle. Because whenever I have free time, I will think of her. I locked the bedroom where she slept and it became a forbidden area in the house. I threw away all the four-piece suits that we had worn countless times while hugging and cuddling. It's like I can throw away those memories as well. During this period, Jiang Zhiro often came to see me. Either a milk tea shop had just opened in the east of the city and there were a lot of people lining up and she wanted to try it, or a good omakase restaurant had opened in the west of the city and she asked me if I wanted to go with her. At the beginning, I rejected her every time, and even embarrassed myself to tell her that I had no intention of falling in love recently. But she always answered me with a smile. It's okay. I'll come next time. Maybe you'll agree. After so many times, I felt too embarrassed to refuse her anymore, so I went out with her a few times. I have to say that young girls have a kind of magical power. When I am with her, I seem to feel a lot more relaxed. When she handed me a candied Haws and asked me to take a bite, I really forgot all the sadness. But when I get home alone at night, those memories follow me back like a thorn in my flesh, and I can't help but think of them when I close my eyes. Jiang Zhiro asked me out again that day and said that there were a lot of seagulls coming to the beach recently, and asked if I wanted to go feed the seagulls together. She and I walked barefoot on the beach. The salty and humid sea breeze brought the freshness of water vapor, and I suddenly felt much more relaxed. What kind of woman does Brother Lin like? Jiang Zhiro tilted her head and asked. I thought about it. Well, she looks good in a suit, looks serious on the surface but is actually very reserved, and can talk to me a lot. It would be better if she wears a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. Before I could finish, the image of a person appeared in my mind. A couple not far away were drawing hearts on the beach, laughing and chasing each other. Finally, they were tired and sat together on the beach. The girl suddenly asked. What if we break up in the future? Then I'll bring you back. What if I can't catch it back? The boy thought for a moment and said. Then keep chasing, until you catch it back. Brother Lin, actually Jiang Jiro seemed to want to say something, but my brain was in a mess and I couldn't hear anything. Suddenly, bells rang from a church in the distance. I realized belatedly that today was Shen Wanqing's engagement day. She will be given a ring by another man and swear to love him forever. She would be intimate with another person, sharing a bed. She will completely leave my world and have nothing to do with me anymore. The sea breeze blew my hair, and I suddenly felt an indescribable emotion filling my heart. At this moment, I really want to see Shen Wanqing. Once the thought came out, I couldn't control it anymore. I said to Jiang Jiro. Sorry, I have something urgent to do, I have to leave first. Jiang Jiro just stared at me for a while, with a complicated look in her eyes. Are you going to look for Shen Wanqing? I nodded. Right. Jiang Jiro lowered her eyes, and after a long silence she gave a helpless smile. It's hard to get a taxi from here to the church. I'll take you there. I didn't know what to say, so I could only thank him awkwardly. Jiang Jiro sighed. Don't thank me. If she treats you badly in the future, come back to me. I was anxious all the way, afraid that if I arrived too late the engagement ceremony would have been over. Jiang Jiro drove the car all the way to the door, and I got out of the car and rushed in. I have never run so fast in my life, but I just want to run faster so that I can see that person earlier. I pushed open the church door. The pastor was dressed in white, and Shen Wanqing beside him was dyed with gentle colors by the halo of light shining through the rose window. I stopped breathlessly, eyes widening. There was no one in the church except the pastor and Shen Wanqing, let alone the men that day. Am I here early? Am I confused, or am I too late and they are already done? Just when I was panicking, Shen Wanqing suddenly smiled with relief. She said to the priest. My fiancé is here, let's get started. I was completely dumbfounded. Wait, aren't you getting engaged to Ruinyo's son today? Shen Wanqing came over and held my hand. He and I were just partners. He didn't want to listen to his family's advice about marrying someone without any feelings, so he asked me to invest in his company and help him start a business away from family control. And he's going to pretend to be my fiancé in front of you. You cheated me. Shen Wanqing chuckled. What else? Lin Ziyuan, I have been waiting for you to come to me, but even after you resigned, you were still unwilling to come and talk things out with me. If I wasn't like this, would you come to me? Then why don't you come to me? I was both angry and amused. Why? Shen Wanqing looked down at me. It was you who was flirting with another woman in front of me first, and then I went to find you. Do I still have any shame? Thank goodness you didn't let me down. I was so angry that I laughed. What if I don't come today? Shen Wanqing was silent. It was a long time before she spoke. Then I'll think of another way. She held my hand and then handed me an exquisite diamond ring. Consider it as a loan from me. You have to buy one and return it to me later. The pastor looked at us with a smile. Shen Wanqing looked serious. Lin Ziyuan, you still owe me and I'm sorry. But I also owe you one sentence. I like you very much. Actually, I noticed you a long time ago, but because my father cheated on me when I was a child, which caused my mother to become depressed and commit suicide, I have always been resistant to relationships. I was stunned, remembering that I had never seen Shen Wanqing in a relationship in all these years. Not only is she not in a relationship, it seems that she doesn't even have a close man around her. For a while, people around him secretly speculated whether Shen Wanqing liked women. If she hadn't acted so hard to chase, I wouldn't have come up with such a bad idea as kidnapping her and taking her home. I am very afraid that my partner will betray me, and I am also afraid that I will be like my father and become the kind of person I hate the most. But now I have figured it out. I am sure that I will not betray you. I will always be good to you and let you stay with me forever. So, will you marry me? My eyes were sore and I trembled as I put the ring on her ring finger. I do. 2 months later, Shen Wanqing and I got married. The main reason is that she is quite anxious, saying that she is afraid that if I don't get married, I will have another sister or younger sister outside. Jiang Zhiro also came on the wedding day. There were dark circles under her eyes and her face was filled with resentment. Brother Lin, how is she better than me? She is an old woman. Is she as young and beautiful as me? I smiled and held Shen Wanqing's hand. But I like her. Jiang Zhiro reluctantly took out a box from her pocket. You refused to accept the tie clip I gave you before, but now I give it to you as a wedding gift. You will definitely accept it, right? I reached for the box. Thank you. You're welcome. If she treats you badly in the future, just come find me. I'll wait for you. Then you just wait. Shen Wanqing sneered, you can't wait until you die. After marriage, Shen Wanqing moved into my house. I asked her if she was mentally ill, as she refused to live in her own villa halfway up the mountain and insisted on living in my small house of less than 100 square meters. Shen Wanqing said nothing and walked into the bedroom. After a while she came out with the silver chain still wrapped around her wrist. As I remember, you seem to still owe me 5 hours. She smiled lewdly. Then let's get started. Wait. I said in panic. What are you talking about? You're still bringing up old issues. Shen Wanqing pushed me down. If you say one more word, I'll add another one.